Hello, everyone. Good to see all of you. I see lots of hellos in the chat. Hello back. Good to see some new faces and some repeat faces. So I think we put in the description just to make sure, because last week we had a little bit of trouble because there were lots of questions needed to get up and running, just get started, and we ended up using like a whole class just for that. So what we decided this time is we made it 4 classes long, and then the last 3 are going to be actually what we're doing and making a game and learning to code and all that kind of stuff. And then this one, we decided to just make the first one just to help everyone make sure that they're up and running. So if you have any questions about that, then you will, I'll help you get answers to that, and we'll help make sure that you can get started. So everybody's ready to just get started first thing tomorrow when we get up and running, and we don't have to worry about anything like that. So I'm going to be going through just some really basic stuff just to get you up and running. Now, first thing is, and I'll answer a bunch of questions in just a sec. And but the first thing is, if you were able to get Pico 8 downloaded and install it, and you can run it, and you see this window over here, and it looks like, if it looks like this is what you see, that is good. You're all set. You want to be able to, like, when you first start Pico 8, you see this screen, and then that means you're ready to go. And now for some of you, when you start it up, takes up the whole screen, and your entire screen is filled with that. And the way to fix that is you hit Alt and then Enter. You hold down the Alt key and tap Enter, and then it will come out of full screen mode for you, which makes it a little easier to see what's going on. And then, hold on one sec, I'm trying to get back to, there we go. Sure, for those of you trying to update, I'll help you in just a minute. But I just want to make sure, if you start up and you see Pico 8 and it looks like this, that's exactly where you need to be. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to type help. You can just leave it right here, and this is where we're going to start tomorrow. But if you see this and it's taking up your entire screen and you can't see anything else, like you can't see the webinar, you can hold down Alt and hit Enter, and it will make it smaller and take up just a window. And then if you hit Alt Enter again, it'll go back to full screen. So you can use that to get in and out of full screen mode. And that's Alt Enter on both Mac and PC. Okay, so then the next thing is, some of you already had Pico 8, and they actually just did a big update to Pico 8 just in the past week, between the last class that we did and this class. And we're going to be doing something slightly different than we did last time, but some of the things will be similar. But in the last class that we did, the version of Pico 8 that we were using was slightly different, and I'll show you how you can tell. Over here, see where it says 0.20C. Well, if you run Pico 8 and you see that, that means you have the most up-to-date version. If you don't see that, if you see, I think it's 0.11 or 12, I think, or I think it's 0.1 12C, I think that's the version that we had last time. And if you see that, that's okay. You'll be fine. You can still follow along with what we do. But if you do want the latest version and you want to be using this one, then there's something you can do to do that, and I'll go over that. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to switch over to my web browser so you can see what I have. And I'm first going to start it on the Pico 8. So let's switch to my web browser. Okay, so if you go to Pico 8, the Pico 8 website, this is the homepage of Pico 8. And when you went to use your code that you got to start up, you had to create an account. And when you're logged into your account, you can see right over here, I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to switch over here so I can show you exactly where this is. You should be looking right over here. Okay, so that area is where you're going to click. And what you're going to click on is you're going to click downloads right there. Okay, and that will take you to the page where you can download Pico 8. Okay, so let's switch back here. So I can show you. So I'm going to click on downloads, and the website is pico8.com, or you can just search on Google for Pico 8 and you'll find it. If you signed up for this webinar, you should have gotten a code. You should have, you or your parents should have emailed me to get a code to go download Pico 8. If you didn't get a code yet, that means you need to email me. So look in the registration emails, have your parents look in the registration emails, and it'll say who to email. And then when I get the email, I'll send you a code, and that has instructions on how to get Pico 8 as well. But this right here is where you have Pico 8 and you can download it. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see. So you'll see where it says Pico 8 right here. And you can, if you're on Windows, you can get the Windows installer. If you're on Mac, you can get the zip file. And then the way this works is, so for those of you who are on a Mac, if you download this zip file, it'll be in your downloads folder. And when you open it up, you'll see a folder inside that zip file called Pico 8. And you just drag that folder onto your desktop. And that folder has the Pico 8 program. And if you just double click on it, then it will start up. Brenna, don't worry if your computer is charging. All we're trying to do right now is just help everybody get up and running on Pico 8. Now, one thing that you may see when you try to run this on a Mac is, hold on, Brenna, don't worry. We're not going to get started coding today. All today is just to help everybody get Pico 8 up and running. If you're on a Mac and you try to run Pico 8 the first time, you may get a warning that tells you, oh, this is, an unidentified developer, we're blocking it from running. That's okay. It's not anything bad. It's not like you have a virus or anything like that. It just means that you need to go to your Mac preferences, and I'm going to write this down on a notepad here. So don't worry, Kanan. I'm gonna go. We have a little bit of time, so I'm gonna be going over all of this several times just to make sure everybody is up and running. But for right now, I'm just gonna write down a couple instructions for if you're on a Mac. So if you're on a Mac, if you try to run Pico 8 and it, oops, I need to put on word wrap. There we go. Gives you a warning. Do this. Go to your system settings. The Apple menu in the top left of your screen. And then go to security and privacy. And when you go there, at the bottom of the window, tell it to run Pico 8 anyway. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. The Mac shortcut to get out of full screen is Alt-Enter. And the way that works is you hold down the Alt key and tap the Enter key, and that will get you out of full screen. And it'll also go back to full screen too. Oh, I should say, if you try to run Pico 8 on a Mac, and it gives you this warning, this is just something you may have to do the first time that you run it. Ashi, if you can have your parents email me, there was an email address in the registration email. Have them email me, and then I will send you a code. And this is the address to send to. Sometimes I get some codes while I'm doing this webinar, so I'm going to check to see right now. And it looks like we have a few people that that need a code. So hold on one second. I'm going to get a few of these codes sent out to everybody. Okay, so just give me 1 sec while we get this, while we get these sent out. Meanwhile, if you have other questions as you try to get okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I just might be a little bit slow in answering because I'm going to try to get some of these codes sent out. Milo, yeah, if you did this last week, you should already have Pico 8 up and running, and you should be all good to go. Okay, so give me 1 sec while I send out some codes here. Okay, 1 sec. Elijah, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. All we're doing is just trying to get everything up and running. If you open it and it opens and says type help for the help screen, you're all set up, you're all done, you're ready to go. All you might want to do is make sure to hit Alt-Enter to take it out of full screen so that you don't have to, you can also watch the webinar at the same time. Okay, 1 sec. I'm going to send some more codes here. I see lots of your emails, and so we're going to get these all sent out right now. Don't worry, everyone will get a code. We have no shortage. So just give me 1 sec. If I miss your question, don't worry, I'll get back to it. I just trying to make sure that everybody can get a code. Hold on 1 second. Getting these codes sent out. This is why we actually set aside this whole session just to make sure everybody got their codes, got it installed, all that kind of stuff. So don't worry if you didn't get it installed yet, you're not behind, you haven't missed anything, and you won't miss anything as long as you can get this installed before tomorrow. Okay, I sent out a few codes, but I'm not done yet, so I'm just gonna check a few questions here. Let's see. The PC command to get out of full screen is the same as the Mac command. Surprisingly enough, you just hit Alt-Enter. Hold down Alt and hit Enter, and it will get out of full screen. All right, let me go back to sending some more codes here. And again, if you're worried about missing anything, don't worry. All today is just to make sure everybody gets up and running and you're able to get to the Pico 8 screen. And if you can do that, then you're all good. Just a few more codes to send here. Pico 8 is probably one of my favorite programs that I use on my computer. And I'm really happy you are all going to get to learn how to use it. Okay, let's see. I'm still sending out codes here. Still got a few more. Almost done. Okay, just a couple more. You should all be getting emails if you requested the code just now, because I'm almost done here. Okay. Okay, so now hold on one second while I get back to all these questions. So we got a few more. If you already got, so to answer Hartley's question, what do we do once we get to Pico 8 and have the code? Where do we type the code? So in the email, it has an address to go to in the email. And if you go to that address, you can, if you put in that address, then it takes you to a web page where you can type the code in, and it allows you to create an account. And then you do have to do, like, it's a cute little game where you pick up all the coins in order to show that you're a person. And once you do that, you get the little login thing. If you put in the code and you created an account, hold on one sec. Nobody should pay for Pico 8 right now, because I have made sure to send you a code. So I'm going to switch over to my web browser and show you what to do once you're logged in on Pico 8. So once you're logged in to the Pico 8 website, so if you're at the Pico 8 website, then over in the corner, once you've logged in, if you use the code to sign up, then right here, it says downloads. If you click on your name, your login name over here on the side, and then click on downloads, it will take you to this page. And this page right here, where it says Pico 8, then you can choose, depending on, and Isabella, this is to answer your question. If you're on a Windows computer, click the installer. And if you're on a Mac, download the zip file. And then inside the zip file, once it's downloaded, is a folder that you can just drag onto your desktop. And inside there will be Pico 8. Hold on one second, Ashi and Shana. I will help you out in 1 second. So let me just make sure I sent all the right emails here. Okay. Ashi, I sent an email just a minute ago, 3 minutes ago, so you should have an email. Okay, good, you got the code. So Brenna, what I want you to do is look in the top left of your, computer screen. And if you see a little Apple logo that looks like this, you see a little Apple logo, then you're on an Apple. But if you look down in the bottom corner of the screen and you see a logo that looks kind of like this, that means you're on a Windows computer. So either you're going to have a little Apple logo up in the top, I'm really bad at drawing apples, so hopefully that looks kind of like an apple. We'll see. You'll either see an Apple logo or you'll see a little Windows logo down in the corner. And if it's an Apple, then you're on a Mac. And if you see the Windows logo, you're on a Windows computer. I hope that helps. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question. Owen, if you got on the help screen, I'm going to switch over just to answer Owen's question. If you are here, then you're good. You're all set up, and that's where we'll start tomorrow. If you say help and it showed you all this, that's okay too. Don't worry. You didn't break anything. Nothing's bad. If you want to restart, you can just type in reboot and it'll start again. And it looks like this, and you're all good. So if you see the screen, you're all done and you've got everything done that you need to do. Okay, so, oh, yeah, so if you get that screen, Kenan, then you can just click more info. So I'm gonna write this down on my notes here. I'm gonna put up this one. So I'm gonna make this smaller so that it's, I can write more on here. And I hope you all can read this. If you can't read it, please let me know. If you are on Windows and get a message when running it, click more info, then click run anyway. So hopefully this helps if you're on a Mac or on Windows. What does it say? What does it say for you when you try to run it? Oh, it says you can't. Oh, okay. I just noticed the message that you wrote. You have an Apple computer, a Mac computer, so you should download the Mac version of Pico 8, and that would be when you're on the Pico 8 website. You should download this one, the macOS Zip. It's here. I'm gonna put this right here. I'm gonna highlight it here. So you should download this one, the one that says macOS Zip. And when that's downloaded, then open it up, and there will be a folder that you can just drag that folder onto your desktop. It's a little folder called Pico 8. And if you drag that onto your desktop, then when you open it up, there's the Pico 8 application inside. But when you run it, oops, let me get rid of that thing here. When you run it, you're going to want to follow these top instructions here, because you're going to want to follow these instructions. Because these instructions are if you have, oops, let me clear that out. These instructions here are if you're on a Mac. I am not good at drawing today. What is going on? There we go. Okay, so follow those instructions if you're on a Mac. If you're on a Windows laptop, click on the Windows installer link. And that is, I will show you on the web browser. That is this one where it says Windows installer. Click on that one and run that. I'll make this a little bigger so it's a little easier to see. And then once that's done downloading, you should be able to install it. Yes, so Kenan, that is, now you need to follow these instructions up on the top here. So if you try to run Pico 8 on a Mac and it gives you a warning, go to your system settings. You click on the little apple up in the top left corner. So it'd be like way up there, and go to your settings for Mac OS. And then make sure you go to security and privacy and you tell Pico 8 to open anyway, to run anyway. And that tells it this is an okay program to run, and please let me run it. This class will be recorded. Yes, that Noah, to answer your question. Yes, it will be. Shanna, when you say you cannot push it, does that mean you can't get it downloaded from the website? Like if you're on here, like you can't click on installer. You should make sure your mouse is over installer, not Windows, because installer is the clickable part and Windows is not. Because there's two ways to do it, and the installer is the easy way. So you got to click on installer. And again, if you have got it installed and you end up at this screen, then you're great. You're in the right place and you're all set up. And the only thing you should probably need to know is that if you hit Alt-Enter, it will take it out of full screen and let you see both the screen and the Zoom window and that kind of thing. Or if you hit Alt-Enter again, it'll get it back into full screen. That's on Windows and Mac. You hold down the Alt key and hit Enter, and it will take it out of full screen. But if you still need to, these instructions, I will put it. Yes, send Gayatri. So send me an email, and I will send me an email asking for the recording. And as soon as I have the link, I will send it to you. But again, today, you're not going to miss anything. All we're trying to do is we're just trying to get everybody up and running so that they can run Pico 8 and everything works. I'm going to check to see if I have any more code requests in my email. So give me 1 second. Oh, Shauna, I just saw your email. But it sounds like you got your question answered. So it sounds like you're working on it. So I'm gonna see here. For those of you still in the chat, if you are, just to get an idea of how many people we've got up and running. So if you are up and running and you see this Pico 8 screen, or you can get to that screen and you're all good, raise your hand in the webinar. So I just kind of get an idea of like who's all up and running. Perfect. This is great. And if you're not, don't worry, we'll help you here. We'll help you get up and running. So if you are up and running and this is what you see, you are all set up for tomorrow's first code lesson. And so as soon as our webinar starts tomorrow, you'll be ready to go. So you just have to be at this screen and you'll be all set. So for those of you who don't have your hands raised, do you need any help getting up and running? Gayatri, thanks. I got your email and I will send you the recording as soon as I have the link. Okay, so now I'm going to lower all the hands. And for those of you who don't have it installed and you aren't able to see this screen yet, if you need any help getting up and running, I want you to raise your hand. Or if you're just not sure what to do. Okay, so what is your question, Kenan? What can I help you with? I'm going to put up the instructions if you're on a Mac or PC again, so that if you need to see those. Okay, good to hear, Shanna. Glad you sorted that out. Good, Brenna. Yay, good. I'm glad to hear you have it worked out. Yes, Jackson, if you have everything running, you can leave the Zoom call because we're not going to go over anything more. I'm not going to jump ahead for anyone. We're going to make sure that everybody can get up and running. And then tomorrow is when we're going to start the coding stuff. So you're all good. So it won't let you click allow. When it does it ask you to put in a username and password? If so, your parents might need to type in a username and password to allow it to work. You might need your parents to help you on that one, because different families have different settings for computers, and some are set up so that like only certain people can load new programs, and it's just different from family to family. Also, if you want to zoom out of your map, you can use the less than and greater than keys. They're right next to the M key and the question mark, right between those. But you have to hold down the shift key when you press those keys. But it's down at the bottom to answer Ariana's question of how to zoom in and out of the map. But we'll go over that tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll cover all that. But now, one thing I want to mention on this is if I say your name incorrectly, you should not feel bad about putting in something into the chat telling me how to pronounce your name correctly. I will be happy to be corrected because I would love to make sure I'm saying your names correctly. Because it's your name. It's pretty important. Ariana, so if you're on the map, you just have to make sure you're holding down shift when you tap the keys and tap the less than or greater than keys. They're little angle keys. Here, I'll put it on here. Let's see. They look like these keys. And if you press those, then it zooms in and out. Shanna, if you you have it at the things where it says type help, then you're set up. That's it. You're good. If you have it, so I'll put it up on the screen again. If you are at this screen, then you're good. You're all set up and you're ready to go for tomorrow. Yeah, so if you have it at this screen, you're all set, and I will see you tomorrow. If you're not able to get to the screen, please let me know because I really want to help everyone get to this. If you can't get out of full screen, hold down the Alt key and hit Enter. Or on some keyboards it says Return instead of Enter, but it's the key you hit, like, the OK, Enter, that kind of thing. When you're done typing, you hit Enter. So it's Alt on the bottom of the keyboard and then Enter. If you type help, don't worry, you haven't actually gotten into anything. It just means that you just typed help and it just showed you some stuff on the screen like this. And it's still waiting. Like, you could type help again and it would just show it to you again. If you type reboot like that, reboot, it will start it all over again and start you back up. But if you typed help, don't worry, you're not stuck in anything. It's just waiting for you to do something else. So you can just type help, or you can type reboot, and it just shows this again. And as long as you can see this, you're all set and you're ready to go. This one goes until 2:15, but we may go a little bit longer if we need. We may go a little longer if we need to. Yes, Shanna, you can go if you want to. It's totally fine. If you hit escape, the escape key, which is in the very top corner of your keyboard. If you hit the escape key, it goes in and out of the code editor. It'll look like this. And then if you hit escape, it goes back to this. If you hit escape again, back to this. If you hit escape again, it goes back to that. So it's really easy to go in and out. I'm glad you're able to get up and running, Shanna. Good job. So if anybody else still needs help, please raise your hand. I want to make sure everybody gets help that needs help. Okay, see you tomorrow, Shanna. Oh, I can't see the background thing with the grass. Oh, like what I have on my screen? Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. My screen is like all fancy weird. Don't worry if you can't see that. You should just see, I mean, on your screen, all you will have is just this part right here. Like this is where, this is actually just the Pico 8 part like this. All this stuff over here, this is just me being fancy with my live stream and, you know, doing weird, crazy stuff. So don't worry if you can't see all that stuff. Cool, glad to hear it. So if you still need help, just raise your hand in the chat and we'll get you helped out. But if you can see this screen over here on the right where it says, you know, Pico 8 and type help for help, then you are set up and ready to go for tomorrow. And there's nothing more you need to do. And if there's anybody who you're still waiting on a question and I haven't answered it, please let me know because I might have missed it and I want to make sure I get everyone's answer. I'm not going to go anywhere, Brenna. Don't worry. Just, I will wait till everybody's questions are done. Brenna, did you have a question? Oh, you had to up your computer? Okay, good. And remember, if you open it up and it opens up full screen, you can just hold Alt and then hit Enter. Or it's, on some keyboards it says Return, but you know, Alt and then Enter, and then it will come out of full screen. And if you hit it again, it'll go back into full screen, but you can go in and out that way. Okay, good. Glad to hear, Brenna. Yeah, that's correct, Austin. On some Mac keyboards it says Option, and on some of them it says Alt. It's kind of not super consistent. Yeah, Canon, I love that sound. That's actually one of my favorite sounds ever, and I'm going to play it again right now just because of how great it is. It just makes me feel like, oh, I like this program. It is a wonderful sound. I'm going to do it again just because it's a great sound. Kanan, okay, great. Thank you for Thank you for that. I do want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. Is it Kanan? Did I say that correct? Awesome. Names are important. It's good to pronounce them correctly. All right, does anybody else have any questions on how to get started, or is everybody up and running now? Tomorrow, we're going to be just learning some coding basics. So we're going to do some really, really simple stuff just to understand some of the really simple things about what coding is and how it works, especially in this environment. Because a lot of times you can learn how to do coding like with Scratch, and that's really a wonderful way to learn. But what we're going to be learning here is coding in a language that people actually use in their jobs. It's like actually like full out real coding that that people use all the time, every day. And so we'll be learning about that. Scratch is fantastic. There's so many cool things you can do with it. Oh, that's good. Scratch and Python are both great. Python is used a lot. Google is one of the companies that uses Python a lot. It's actually one of the most used languages in the world. I'm glad to hear that, Brenna. Oh, cool. That's a good, JavaScript is a good one to know too. Lots and lots of web pages use JavaScript. In fact, most web pages, I think, these days use JavaScript. When I first learned coding, well, there wasn't really a web to use coding on, but even then, JavaScript was only used on a few sites. It didn't really work very well. Yes, I'm excited too. I think it will be a lot of fun. We'll be able to make some fun stuff. Oh, really? That's interesting, Milo. I didn't know that. We have a few students have sent games in, so that's possible that it's from one of those. Yeah, HTML and CSS is great too. It's good to know how to make web pages. Well, does anybody else, if anybody else still in the chat has needs help, please raise your hand. So I just want to make sure before we end off here that everybody gets their questions answered. Oh, cool. Brenna says she has her own web page. That's awesome. I love having my own web page too, because it's kind of like your little corner of the internet where you can just have your own creative stuff going, which is awesome. Okay, see you later. Bye, Brenna. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping up here. If nobody else has any other questions, then I think we're gonna end off. But tomorrow we'll be getting started. We'll be learning some coding and learning how to use Pico 8, just the different parts of Pico 8. For some people, this might be review. That's okay. It's always good to see things again and kind of get a refresher on it and try new things. You might learn something new that you didn't learn last time. All right. Thank you for joining, everybody. I'm glad this worked out really well. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. My email was in the registration emails, so you can email with any questions that you have, and I'll be happy to help you out. And otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.